I was born on a full moon, on Albert Einstein's birthday, and in the year of the fire dragon. I come from a maternal lineage of dragons. My mother was born in the year of the dragon, and her mother, my grandma Käla, was born in the year of the dragon. We were each born in New York. My mother and her mother were born under the star sign Aquarius. I would have been Aquarius too, but I was born 3 weeks later, so I'm a Pisces. I remember the first time my mother told me about astrology. I was auditioning for a ballet class and we were sitting in the waiting room to see if I was accepted. She took out a small book of zodiac signs and read to me. She told me I was born under the sign of 2 fish tied together, swimming in opposite directions. It's like a dance, and the sign of Pisces is ruled by the feet. So a person born under the sign of Pisces will make a very good dancer. I thought this was the most wondrous thing, that a book that didn't know me could have information about me. So that was my introduction. I had just turned 18 years old. The first birthday present I received was my star chart. There was a woman in the East Village who drew up my chart and printed out her interpretation. By 1996, I would sit in bookstores for hours, surrounded by every book I could find on the subject of astrology, natal charts, planetary effects, and the influences of the stars. I read different astrologers' perspectives, learned the ancient symbology, the history, the old versus the new age take on things, and eventually developed my own interpretations using all of this information. And the history was so fascinating. By the 1st century BC, astrology was held in high regard in the early Greek and Roman worlds. They used it to receive deep insights into nature, politics, and personal relationships. But then, when it came time to decide which lessons should be taught in the school system, astronomy or astrology, astronomy won the fight as it was more predictable and consistent. By 2000, I was drawing up my own charts for myself, my friends, my family, and so I took the information I learned from books and the rest I learned from real-life experience. When I'd meet someone who happened to know the time they were born, I could draw up a basic star chart for them right there with a pen and paper. So simply by taking their date of birth and looking up their planets and placing them in the appropriate spots on the chart, I could put something together and begin to read it. It would be an imperfect star chart because calculating and measuring the degrees of the houses and the planets and their aspects, the varying angles to each other, is more complicated than that. So I was excited when eventually I discovered a service online that drew up computerized charts in seconds. Then I could really have fun reading them. In 2002, I was asked to write up monthly horoscopes for a publication called Go Magazine. I called it Goddess Astrology. I also did horoscopes for Meow Mix. In order to write these, I would draw up little star charts for each zodiac sign and use the transiting stars and planets to see the energies of the month for each sign. So that's another kind of star chart that I used, the transit charts. I also made horoscopes for a burlesque party called La Rouge Coquette, a beautiful, sensual, sophisticated party downstairs in a luxurious lounge of a Moroccan restaurant called Aza on East 55th Street. The best part about learning to read the charts was finding connections between all who had similar aspects and just analyzing it. In my own personal star chart, that's definitely a feature of my Virgo rising to want to analyze. This feeling also seems to come from my moon in Virgo. The moon represents the emotional world and definitely balances out all of my emotional Pisces energy that I have flowing through my birth chart. Being a Pisces and communicating like a Pisces and having my moon placement in the house of Pisces can lead me into the abyss of the deep, dark underworld of my emotions. But with a double Virgo, the polar opposite of Pisces, I can take these emotions, lay them out in front of me, take them apart, observe them, and then piece them back together in a way that makes sense. And another saving grace to diving into the fathomless ocean, the limitless emotional nature of the Pisces, is my Venus in Aquarius, which I undoubtedly inherited from my Aquarian dragon mother and grandmother. I found that this placement gave me the ability to step outside myself and see the bigger picture in relationships. On one hand, that kind of objectivity gives me the ability to put myself in other people's shoes and not put my feelings above another's feelings. The sign of Aquarius cares about the unit, the relationship, the partnership as a whole, to strengthen the bond through solidarity, each uplifting the other. But with all partnerships, it takes two sides. So the Aquarius energy may learn the hard way sometimes that the other party is not on the same wavelength to create a win-win situation. One way I sought to understand the delicate intricacies of relationships was through relationship star charts, synastry, and composite charts for myself and my friends who were couples. And when my friends started having babies, I would make a star chart for their newborns, write up a little interpretation, and roll it up into a scroll for them. And because of my Mars in the sign of Gemini in my own chart, I always prefer to incorporate several different tools into my work. So, looking at star charts alone for readings usually wasn't quite sufficient enough for me. I would include a little tarot and numerology and reading palms to get the full picture. Each of these tools has a rich history in ancient civilizations across the world. So I began doing readings for friends at parties and events. At this time, I was working in TV at BBC and HBO and going to the Kabbalah Center, which also utilized astrology. So I had quite a few people who were interested. My friend, who was originally from New Orleans, created a benefit event at the bar she worked at on the Upper East Side. After the devastation of Hurricane Katrina on New Orleans in 2005, there were various benefits that would take place over the following years. She asked me to do readings and palm readings for the benefit one afternoon. It was the NOLA Re-Arts program for kids and teenagers. And every opportunity to read became an opportunity to see the interconnectedness with all people. The similarities would always outshine the differences. So it was easy to see humanity as a collective spiritual body through astrology. So, astrologically speaking, this year, a major shift for humanity has begun. Not only did we just move into the new year of the dragon, but we also had Pluto shift into the sign of Aquarius, where it will hold court for the next 20 years. Pluto embodies massive and deep and long-lasting transformations. The last time that this happened was about 200 years ago. The American Revolution began in 1775. The Declaration of Independence was signed in 1776, and Pluto went into Aquarius in 1778 for 20 years, building and formulating the Enlightenment period, like a light switch for humanity to focus on freedom, independence, and reclaiming sovereignty For me, the whole declaration is very much Aquarius, that this is an energy of creating that delicate balance of support and solidarity with your brothers and sisters, while not intruding upon their rights to be free and sovereign individuals. Like the restrictions that came right before the Pluto in Aquarius 200 years ago, this time we can look at the 2020 restrictions and lockdowns and draconian measures taken against children and the elderly in the name of public safety and protection during COVID.
You have to do something that's rather draconian. And sometimes when you do draconian things, it does have deleterious consequences on the economy, on the school children. You know that.
And with the upcoming global government and World Health Organization that threatens to take away more of our rights and freedoms, the revolutionary Aquarian energy is now poised to strip off the blindfold of the justice system. Aquarius symbolizes freedom, individuality. It is grassroots. It is the visionary, the artist, the one that marches by the beat of its own drummer. There will definitely be a new declaration of freedom over the next 2 decades. And that freedom is not only felt across the world, but on the personal, individual level as well. Breaking free from our own old, outworn behaviors and patterns that no longer serve our highest good. More personal revolutions within us, the rebellion of structures in our lives that we can break free from. An interesting thing that I used to say about myself when I was in my early 20s was that I knew that the best time of my life was going to be when I'm in my 50s and 60s. And although I'm not quite there yet, I can't help but notice how it correlates with the 2 decades that Pluto will be in freedom-loving Aquarius.